Out with our desk before the shows, and I'm already like, this is going to be a fun show.
A good one, absolutely.
And I think today's one of those days. At 10:30, we're going to have Stephanie Devara. She is the owner of Seville Picnic, which is going to be a blast. And then at 10:50, we're going to be joined by Samantha Strong, the manager at the Shops at Stonefield.
Okay.
So a very fun show planned for you today. And I know we have also Javier and I are going to be talking some very recent events in finance, developments, things that are...
Get those words in there. After last night, watching the Olympics, going to bed late, sometimes the words just don't pop in as quickly.
They don't pop in. But it was worth it last night.
Of course
a lot of big wins by the USA team, so that was fun to see for sure.
Especially if you like swimming.
Especially if you like swimming, which we love.
Because I'm so good at swimming, I kind of watch it.
You enjoy it vicariously.
Because they're so short, those swimmers.
You get to imagine.
All right. Quiet on the set.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're really excited to have you with us here today. As always, we're presented by Emergent Financial Services. We are powered by Cristel Noel State Farm, and we are partnering with Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking event group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So it's a very fun show.
Yeah, it's going to be
planned
interesting.
for everyone today. We're going to have at 10:30. It's going to be Stephanie Devara. So she's the owner of Seville Picnic, a really unique business. I think when you hear about it, you'll be like, wow, I didn't know.
Just saying the word picnic, right?
Exactly.
Gives you relaxation and fun and
it has
enjoyment.
such a nice feel. And when you see what it's about, I think it's really unique. And then we're going to be followed. That's going to be followed at 10:50 by Samantha Strong. She's the manager of the Shops at Stonefield. So a very fun place. We'll learn a lot about that. There's always so much going on there.
I think so.
So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to learn about that. And then, of course, we have some interesting developments, as Jerry and I were talking the other day on the I Love Seville show. Just especially, we were just reviewing what was happening in the markets. And, of course, 2 days ago, the U.S.-listed Chinese companies were down big. And it was impacting emerging markets. It was impacting a lot of places. Yeah. And we thought it was worth discussing it and just our thoughts on why that's happening and what we need to be thinking about. I think it offers a good teaching lesson, too, about the purpose of investing and what you should and should not be doing when you invest. And so, go ahead and I know you have some thoughts on this situation.
It's more as a professional investor, right? As an institutional investor, as an investor for your client's money, you have fiduciary responsibilities, right? And so we'll discuss why this is important, right? Anybody can invest in these companies if you want to, but as a fiduciary, you have to take a step back, and then we'll explain why. So one of the things, and really this has been this began to happen sometime in February, where the nuances of what was going on in China and the government, what they were doing with respect to companies. And so one of the things we have to remember is that I think it was earlier this year, the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission.
So they regulate stocks that are listed on major
and investment advisors, et cetera, right? They were rolling out rules that basically said, if you do not provide us with financials on the companies that are listed in the exchanges, we will delist you, right? So the Chinese government said, no problem, we will do our own investigation and give you our own audit and looking at the financials of the companies, and we'll give you the results. And quite frankly, the SEC, rightly so, said, no, we need to have that done by a third party, right? We can't just have you do it and say, here's the results, right? And so that's where the crux of the problem began. The Chinese government isn't backing up. And the second thing that happened also is, like, for example, they decided that every single company that has anything to do with education, this is Chinese companies, cannot generate a profit, cannot borrow in the markets, right? And so just from that perspective, if you're investing in a company, the goal is for that company to make money, and that's how you make money, right? So if they're going not to allow these particular companies to make money, to have profits, then why would you invest, right? But the biggest issue that you and I have is, when you invest in companies, one of the things that you have to be aware of is that you can go and take a look at their financials, see how they're doing. In other words, they may be telling you that sales are going through a roof, and then you look at the numbers, you say, that's just not true, right? So you now have a decision that you can make and say, I don't believe that what they're telling us is true because I see the numbers, and therefore you don't invest in it. Or, yes, it's true, I like this company, I like their product, therefore I invest.
Exactly.
When you have numbers that are coming out from a government that is, let's face it, it's a communist government, right?
It's not an uninterested party, right?
Exactly.
And normally when you're looking at numbers from a U.S. company, it's been audited by a third party, by someone
not
who
by,
doesn't
that's
have
right, not by the government itself.
Exactly. It's not by the government. It's not by the company itself.
Exactly.
Right. So you have a reasonable understanding that the numbers you're looking at are accurate, right? Because there's no conflict of interest.
That's right.
Right.
They're honest. They're verified.
Because a third part, someone without a conflict of interest has verified them.
Exactly.
In this case, the person verifying that what the Chinese companies are telling you is true is their own government, which in many cases either owns them or owns part of them.
That's right.
So you sit there and say, well, that's a conflict of interest. We would never permit that in any other scenario.
No.
And so
and you can't invest in something like that.
Exactly, just because you no longer trust those numbers.
Exactly, absolutely. And it's like you going to buy your house, right? A brand new house, and the seller says, you don't have to bring in your engineer. We've got our own engineering report. Don't worry about it, right? Everything is good. Everything's nice and dandy.
My cousin is a home inspector,
exactly.
And he's going to do this.
You wouldn't do that, right? You say, yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it, but I'm going to have my own inspector come in and take a look at it, right? So it's kind of the same concept. In other words, if you are not permitted to take a look at the financials of a corporation. And that doesn't mean, we invest in many ETFs. That doesn't mean we go out there and take a look at every single financial.
You're not going to look
right?
at 1,000, 2,000
Exactly. But we know that there are people that are taking a look at that. Two, we know that we can, right? And we can take a look at what the financials are of certain companies. For some ETFs only have about 20 stocks. So we can take a look at that, right? Which is usually, when you look at the smaller companies is what we do. When you look in the S&P 500, there's not, obviously the need to look at the financials of those companies is not important, right? Because there's a large number of people that do research and look at the numbers and you just read the research, right? So, but it's important to know that that's available to you.
Exactly.
Right? And listen, we're not the only ones. There's been an enormous exodus out of ETFs that have Chinese companies, right?
As we saw on Tuesday.
We saw on Tuesday, and since this month alone, I think there was like over $3 billion that have come out of the market, because we're not the only ones that feel that way. I think any investment manager that is, and any manager for institutions that has investments in these particular of mutual funds, ETFs, or individual companies are going to be sitting back and say, I can no longer, right, as a fiduciary, say that I know what's going on with this company and therefore invest in it. And so that's why there's so much divestiture going on around the globe.
It's kind of a double risk too, because if they end up getting delisted, you don't want to be
stuck
holding. How do you sell it?
Exactly.
You're going to have to sell it before it gets delisted at very reduced prices.
Yes.
Everybody's going to be trying to get out at the same time.
That's right.
So you have the risk of delisting, and then, like you said, just the responsibility of having to justify to your client, whether it's an individual person or an institution, why did you invest in this? And if you can say well, I thought the sales were going to be good. And he says, well, what sales numbers did you use? Well, these here. Then are those trustworthy numbers? Not really, but I thought it would look good anyway.
Yeah, it was written in Chinese, but we got somebody that understands Chinese.
It's not going to work. It's not going to fly. Even if and part of the thing we talk about often, right, is, granted, it could be that these Chinese listed companies do very well.
Absolutely.
It could be that their price increases because people still want to own them. They still think, well, I can't trust the numbers, but I think they're going to make money anyway, so the stock price will go up. But as Jerry and I kind of talked about on Tuesday, that sounds more like speculation. Jerry told it gambling. More like speculation
and
gambling.
he's right.
He's right.
That's exactly what it is.
It's more like gambling than investment, because you're basically saying, I want to buy this company because I think other people will buy it, and the price will go up. Not, I want to buy this company because I feel strongly that it is making a profit. And that's two very different things. Because the second one can no longer be verified at this point.
Yes.
You have to sort of just guess and say, well, I don't know if these numbers are accurate, but I think even if they're not accurate, that this company is making a profit. And that's a very different scenario than what we've had in the past.
Exactly.
And what you have with companies listed on the U.S. from all the rest of the world, basically. And from most of the other nations in the world, if you're getting the numbers, it has been audited by a third party. You don't typically
because
see
that's
the
how it's
German
supposed to
government
be.
saying, I'm going to audit,
That's
my
right.
German
Well,
stocks.
every company in let's face it, any company that's listed has to be, they have to allow the regulators of the U.S. to look at those numbers, and that's what's important, right?
Exactly.
And the other thing I was going to say was, when you think about it, I always tell people, if you don't understand what a company is making, how they make their money, you don't invest in it. And the second thing is, if you can't verify, right, that their numbers are truthful, you don't invest in it. It's very simple, because in the end, it's not like there's 200 companies that you can invest in, right? And 100 you don't know about, the other 100 you do. There's thousands, right? So there's no need to invest in companies that you say, I really don't have a clue how they make money, right? But I assume that however they do it, whatever they do is good.
It's
No,
great.
that's not a good philosophy to invest in a company. And I'm not saying that company can't do extremely well, but as a personal investor, I would say I'm not comfortable investing when I don't know how they make money. And second, I'm definitely not comfortable investing when I don't know if their numbers are real, right?
And
Because
sometimes
nobody's
it is that
verified
it's
them.
managing your risk, because I think oftentimes we're always tempted by return, right? Oh, I think this company will do well, I will therefore buy it. As opposed to the risk management piece, which is, what kind of risk am I taking with purchasing the stock of a company that I don't understand, or I don't know what they do or how they make money? And is that a risk that is appropriate for me? And a lot of times for most people, that's not a risk that is appropriate. And doesn't mean
And it
you
should
couldn't
be.
it doesn't mean you couldn't make 100, 200% if things go right.
Right.
It just means that you've made that 100%, you're taking a risk that you probably shouldn't have taken. And sometimes we take risks, in life, we take risks that we shouldn't have and that pan out. And sometimes we take risks that we shouldn't have and
they
don't pan out.
Exactly.
And so but that doesn't mean that we should have taken the risk.
Right.
Right. So sometimes you have to just sit back and say, yes, may I be foregoing an opportunity if everything goes my way to get 100% return? Possibly. But the risk is not appropriate for me, given that I don't understand how this
Exactly.
works or what this
Exactly.
company is.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we frequently talk about with the Bitcoins and the cryptocurrencies. We'll have people that will ask us, should I buy Bitcoin? And somewhere in the course of this conversation, usually 60 minutes later, how does it work? Like, what is a Bitcoin?
Exactly.
Is it an actual thing? And I'm like, if you don't know that a Bitcoin is not an actual coin, then you should not be investing
Can I collect some of those coins?
in Bitcoin. Like, if you don't realize what it is, I hardly even know how the blockchain works.
Right.
But if you're sitting there thinking it's an actual coin,
Again, it's gambling, and there's nothing wrong with gambling. You just have to make sure that it's a very small portion of your net wealth, of what you have, of
Exactly.
your assets. Because if you make it a large percentage and you're wrong, it's going to be a long time before you get
if
that
you
back.
wouldn't take 98% of your money to Atlantic City, to a casino, don't put 98% of your money in gambling on the stock market.
Yeah. So I wanted to, just one other thing. So before I got here, early this morning, I saw that the personal consumption numbers came out, right? And the personal consumption is really consumer spending. And it was interesting only because the consumer spending numbers were up 11.3, 11.8%, I can't remember the exact number, but over 11% year over year, which is an enormous number. And let's remember that the consumer is the biggest part of our economy. So the question I have, and I actually tweeted that this morning, the question I have is obviously the consumer is just dying to go out there, right? And the biggest numbers that came out of the consumer were clothing and dining out, right? Because the consumer's tired of being home.
Exactly.
The question I have is, how much does the stimulus have to do with that? And are we going to continue to see that? And we won't know, right? We won't know how that works out. But I just thought that the fact that you saw clothing, which is, you got a little extra money, is something that people like. They like to
And
get
something
dressed
that you
up.
do still see a lot of people buy by going out to do it.
That's right.
I mean, people,
exactly.
it's clothing purchased online is increasing, but not as rapidly
That's
as
right.
other
Yeah.
things.
You
Because,
like to look at it, touch it, and see
plus,
how
does it fit?
put it on.
You know?
Does it look good? Right. But the dining, right? In other words, again, after 12 months being at home, right, where you can't go out, it's just the natural, right, inclination of people to just go out with their friends, their family, and just go out to dinner, right? And I think that's what we're beginning to see, and again, hopefully that's what continues to grow.
Exactly, and hopefully they're not. I don't know what the month over month was. Was it also positive?
It didn't give me that number.
Come out yet.
Yeah.
Month
Well,
over
it did.
month.
I was just looking at the year number. Yeah.
Because it'd be interesting to see going forward. Do people keep spending despite the inflation increasing?
Right.
Or do people cut back and say, this is too expensive, I don't want to do this, I can't afford this right now? Or do people say, I don't care. Yeah, maybe this food at this restaurant is 10% more than it was last time I came here before the pandemic. I don't care. I want to go out and have a good time.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to worry. I'll worry later.
I think it'll have an impact eventually, but right now, again, it's just the demand for living life is greater than the risk of inflation, the fear of inflation that people have. Going forward, of course, we know that if inflation continues at the pace it's going on, people are going to say, I can't afford that anymore, so instead of going out, twice a week, I can only go out once a week or whatever that number may be.
Exactly, yeah. So I think little by little, it's people are becoming comfortable, going out, and the question is, can we keep on the right track?
Yes.
And hopefully inflation truly proves transient.
Let's hope that, this is one time that I hope that every single Fed official, including the European officials, are right, that it's transitory, right?
All right.
It's one of the things is you can never tell.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day. So
you said that. That's usually my kind of line.
That's usually your kind of line with the Federal Reserve. But even a broken clock is right twice a day. Oh goodness! And I mean, and speaking of going out, enjoying the beautiful weather that we've been having in Charlottesville, enjoying good food, good times. We have a guest with us today that I think her business really epitomizes that. The pictures that I've been seeing on Facebook just look so peaceful, so fun, so beautiful. So we're really excited to have on with us Stephanie Guevara. She is the owner of Seaville Picnic. And Stephanie, so glad to have you with us here today.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
That's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure. So for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started, such a unique business.
Well, do you want the long story or the short one? How much time do I have?
We got 15 whole minutes, so you can give me the long story. And while you're at it, tell us, just people in the day of what Seaville Picnic does. I think it's pretty unique.
Yeah, so I ended up losing my job due to COVID. I was actually working from home before COVID with my job, but got let go, so had to kind of rethink things. And I'd always wanted to own my business, and I think, sometimes we get comfortable, and that kind of gave me the extra push that I needed, like, hey, it's now or never.
That's right.
And so many of my different experiences all of a sudden, came together. I came across the idea of luxury picnics in another state.
Interesting.
And didn't get a chance to experience it myself, but when I came back to Charlottesville, I was like, oh, that would be a great date night for my husband and I, and then realized there wasn't one.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay, maybe that's what I need to do, because I was looking at other kind of design-oriented things, but I kept on going back to, how does that set me apart from other people? And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to break into, say, for instance, home staging. There are still a good amount of established home stagers in the area, but luxury picnics had a little bit of all of my talents. I, had a background in design. I did commercial and residential design, and then also did a little bit of catering. Ran an Airbnb for a short time too, so I had customer service experience. So everything came together, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. So my husband and I were supposed to get married in 2020. And so we had to move our date out. And it was at Valley Road Vineyards, and I
Oh, beautiful
brought
place.
I brought the idea because after having to talk to them so much about changing the dates, they almost became like family as well too. We were constantly there like once things were opening up. So I was like, hey, can I set up a luxury picnic here? And they were very encouraging about it, and I had a great supportive. My husband's super supportive friends. But they would tell me, if I was going down the wrong path, and I was crazy, too. So it's great friends and family to have. And so then it gave me the encouragement after talking to Valley Road about reaching out to other vineyards. Reached out to Eastwood. They were just starting out, too, and they were happy to have me as well, and it just kept on growing from there of having locations and slowly starting everything. I knew, I'm like, okay, I can't do all my ideas all at once. Having an artistic background, sometimes you go down the rabbit hole of doing way too much.
Yep.
I'm like,
Right,
how
right.
can I streamline this? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have 2 different looks, just ongoing yearly look and then a seasonal look that will come out. So really kind of streamline the process, and then also figured out what I didn't want to take on, what other local partners, especially during COVID, that I could help support as well too, and add something special to the picnics as well.
For them, awesome.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of filling the demand need by saying, I wanted this, I couldn't find it, so I'll just provide
That's
it
right.
myself.
No, that's perfect. Exactly.
It's the
Yeah.
perfect fulfilling of a need. I'm super interested. So could you sort of take us through the process of someone calls Single Picnic and says, I'd love to do one of these picnics. What does it look like? What do you prepare for them? Because I've seen the pictures of the result,
Yeah.
and they just look beautiful. But
They do.
The first thing in my mind was, how do you even do all that? How do you prepare and put all this together? So what does it look like from the perspective of someone comes to you and says, I'd love to do a luxury picnic for a date night or for an important event?
Sure. So I've worked out a schedule with all the vineyards that I've partnered with, and so that they know when I'm coming, when to expect me, to make sure there's no weddings or any other events that are going to be conflicting. And then depending on the location too, sometimes there's a VIP location. It might be where they typically have their weddings. It might be in the vine. So just making sure that they know that they're not going to be spraying chemicals or something like that while we're there, or have the sprinklers on. So if someone gives me a date, we have a specific vineyard that we're at that day, and usually it is 2-hour window that they'll get to enjoy their picnic, and we bring everything from the low table, pillows, blankets, rugs, all the table setting, the wine glasses, and also a charcuterie board. Too.
So
Okay.
do you prepare the food all yourself?
I
too?
do
So you
I do the
catering?
charcuterie, yes.
Nice.
But we also partner with Totally Baked, and she does my cupcakes. And we also provide fresh flowers sometimes too, if someone wants that. Otherwise, usually we just add our own decorations to it. But they can add on tent, umbrella, a bunch of other fun add-ons too to make their day special.
Now, do you have a menu that here's the choices, or does the person say, I want to have caviar, or I want to have
Little sandwiches with
tacos?
no
I mean,
crust.
Yeah,
whatever.
no, usually it's just seasonal. So unless
okay.
they have some type of allergy or gluten intolerance too, we try to cater to them.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
Oh, very funny. Imagine someone says, can I have the little sandwiches but no crust? My little tea set on my picnic.
If someone did request that, I might be willing to cut off the crust for them. It
Maybe.
depends on how busy we're the day.
Maybe. Exactly. So, what are some of the events you typically see people doing in the area? What
yeah.
are the most common ones, or any unique ones that stood out to you?
Well, so it was interesting. Last year, the first picnic started in September of last year. Officially went into business July of last year, and then September was the first one booked. And it was definitely more popular for couples, for anniversaries. We had
Okay.
proposals. We had one one on a cold, blistery day in beginning of December.
Wow.
But they didn't seem to mind. They were blissfully in love and did not care how windy and cold it was, or that some of the ash from the fire pit was blowing on them. But they were super happy.
But it's a great time. It's a great time.
Yeah, but this year, bachelorette parties have been super popular.
Oh, wow.
I did a baptism, a bridal shower, so definitely the larger events are coming into play now that people can gather together. But definitely it's still popular, though, for dates and proposals. There's a proposal coming up next month that I'm excited about.
Those must be a lot of fun to
Yeah.
set that up. Just it's so memorable.
And I coordinate with local photographers as well, too, to capture the moment. So I joke that like the guy, all he needs is the yes and the ring, and we'll take care of everything else.
The yes, especially.
Yeah,
The photographer's not much use to the yes.
You just hope she says yes. Otherwise, it's
As I said, without the yes,
Yeah,
the
without the
photographer
yes,
sitting
it's
there,
like,
what do I take
uh-oh.
a picture of? I mean,
She still has the picnic at least to take pictures
right.
of, you know. At least
true.
I'll get some marketing
I'm not really
pictures.
ready.
exactly. Some marketing photos for the business. We got some comments coming in. So Nicholas says, knowing what not to take on is one of the hardest parts of owning your business. So great insight there, he says. And then
That's true. Absolutely.
we have,
That's
I
always
know
the
I
case.
saw another one here. Oh, look at this. Kathy Francavilla Balera says, all the way from New York, says, great idea, beautiful design. So you've definitely got some fans here coming up.
Maybe
So
we can start one in New York.
who knows? You never know.
I have
think
family in New York.
Hey, really?
family in New York.
Where in New York?
Long Island and upstate New York as
Long
well.
Island. That's where
Sunny
we're
Side.
from.
I know.
So
Notice how I said Long Island. I know. My parents were New Yorkers.
New Yorkers, absolutely. So because I know you touched on a little bit, like there's the artistic side of what your talents are and what you're able to do. And then, of course, there's the entrepreneur side of like, oh my God, I have to run a business, I have to do this, I have to make sure this works. Any advice, just from your experience in the last year, I mean, starting a business in a tough environment, any advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs that may be saying, oh, I have this idea and this talent, and I want to turn it into a business, just from your experience, challenges that you ran into, great tips you were given that you might want to share?
Yeah. So I think my entrepreneur spirit definitely came from my dad, and then even my husband, his mom and grandma are very strong business-minded entrepreneurs.
Nice.
So having that support network initially, but if you don't have that, there's so many great resources in Charlottesville that you don't be afraid to reach out to those. There's Boss Babes if you want to lean on all of the fellow like babes in the area.
You know that existed, Boss Babes.
Yes. That's a Facebook group, but now they've started meeting in person as well, too. But even like Virginia has a lot of resources for people starting out businesses. So I think if you just do even a Google search initially to see, someone that you can lean onto to get the advice, get the support, run ideas past someone that you can trust. And I think, even if you have a smart, business-minded friend too, that can just kind of be your sounding board in the middle and tell you when you're not going down the right path.
Exactly. What, are you crazy?
Yeah, you don't want to end up being like on American Idol where you're a bad singer and no one told you.
And no one mentioned this beforehand. It's like,
Yeah.
why didn't someone tell me that this was a crazy idea? But in this case, not so crazy. So, I mean, what would you say is, just thinking ahead, some like next steps for where do you see this going? What are some things maybe you haven't done yet that you're thinking about for Seaville Picnic?
I mean, of course, I go back to thinking about franchising. That would be great, but I also want to make sure that everything is established
Right.
really
Yeah,
well
that's
and that it's a fine-tuned, like working wheel, and that it doesn't end up not being the true intent and the spirit and nature. But I mean, even an event space or something, something that not only is it picnics, but it's also supporting other industries as well too, with like having available props or just having available setups. And I think it could go in a couple of different directions, but I think now it's just really focusing on keep on building what I started.
The picnic party.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what happens if like it's a rainy day?
Usually
with the
reschedule. Yeah,
reschedule.
we do have a tent. A few spaces have indoor areas, so if someone's open to still setting up, which can still be super cool inside as well too.
Yeah. Okay, so even like if like it has to be this day.
You get
there's,
that
like, some other
thunderstorm
options.
coming
Yeah,
through.
if it's light rain, I mean, we have a tent that we can put over, so they
Okay.
can still enjoy it. If it gets worse than that, then we can always,
Yeah.
reschedule.
Reschedule it. That makes total
Absolutely,
sense.
yeah.
It's just like you want the sunny weather and the beautiful. I mean, would you say that people do they ever want like music or other activities that are there, or is it mostly just we just want to sit and relax?
We've
and
mostly
do
just
that?
been enjoying like sitting and relaxing,
Yeah.
but like even like at Eastwood, where we set up on the terrace, it overlooks the outdoor tasting tent, and a lot of times there's live bands, so the music drifts up, so it's even more peaceful, but that they still have their little private area.
Exactly.
That
yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the thought of that, like, just the peaceful nature of it. Just seeing the pictures and the beautiful props. I have to say, the things that you put into it with the
They're
blankets.
stunning, yes.
and they're stunning. I mean, they look like something out of one of those movies where like the English used to go to have their picnics
That's right, sit
out
up.
on their lawns, and I'm like, this looks like it's right out of one of those BBC movies.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do everything that I would enjoy doing and put myself like in the customer's shoes. Are they going to be comfortable? Is like everything the right height? And everything that they have. If I start noticing something's like off, I'm going to change it and make sure that things photograph well, that look nice in person too.
Exactly. So before I let you go, where can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you, to find Sivo Picnic, to contact you?
Our best is my website on SivoPicnic.com.
SivoPicnic.com.
We have our calendar right now. We're about to post our fall calendar soon, but if
Okay.
they have a date in mind, we are booking by appointment until it's posted.
Okay, nice. Also, when you go on there, there's a whole calendar that you can
You
choose
just
from.
choose from.
Yep.
Pick
Wow.
one you want.
Yeah,
That's
they can
fantastic.
pick the vineyard they want, and then it'll show
Oh.
the available dates at that vineyard.
Okay.
And then they can
That
add all
is
their add-ons. So definitely starting out, trying to utilize all of having extra hands working for you, I think is key, because there's only so many hours in the day, and there's only so many meetings too. And so I think finding a good system that works for your business is like key.
I agree.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And that's just an awesome way to do it because, I mean, very super easy.
That's
You go
right.
there, say, here's the vineyard I want, here's the date I want, and here's all the things.
Yeah.
Even
that
for
I
I
can
people
mean-
choose
that they
from.
go research a little of a vineyard, I like it. Boom. What's the date?
I mean, sometimes
And
there's
done.
some questions, but for the most part, it helps out with the majority of reservations. And then, usually proposals, they do reach out to make us a little bit more involved, a little bit more nerves involved.
Yeah, a little more, I need this to be perfect mentality. But that is awesome. That's such a.
It is.
To be honest, I didn't even know before Nick connected us with you. I didn't even know that this was a thing.
Me neither,
I'm gonna be
right?
honest. Maybe because there wasn't one in charge, but now there is. But I was like, what do you mean? Like you set up picnics?
picnic, huh?
I mean, that actually happens. But then having seen it, it just looked so amazing. So really excited to have it here, and so excited and happy that you were able to join us
Oh,
today.
thank you. Awesome.
Thank you, Stephanie. This
Happy
is
to be
fantastic.
here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just
So,
really
it's
good.
because I was thinking, I remember when I was a little boy and we used to go to Jones Beach, right? And we used to go usually like Sunday morning. And that whole Sunday morning, early church, come home, and I see my mother setting everything up because she used to make like these big empanadas and stuff. But it was like tons and tons of things that we were carrying into the car, the food, the drinks, and everything. And of course, the problem with Jones Beach was that by the time you get from the parking lot to the beach, the sand, literally, it's a good 15, 20-minute walk, right? And so we get there early so we can be close. I tell you, those walks. But of course, then you enjoy the food and everything. But
experience.
imagine having somebody, not at the beach, but having somebody say, we'll take care of all
Yeah,
that.
exactly. You
This
just
is
have to show up
exactly.
and enjoy the picnic.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry
Absolutely.
about the rest of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
So that was good. That was good.
Oh, we got some more comments coming in as we transition from Stephanie to Samantha. They're gonna swap seats here as we do this. We got Rosalia Trodaro from now she's in New York.
Oh, she's in
now.
New York, okay.
She's saying, hope we don't stop it in so we can enjoy life and help the business and the economy. I said, yes, Well, so
I
then
agree
we feel
wholeheartedly.
the same way. Let's keep things
Gotta
going.
move
Keep
forward. I
things
gotta keep
going.
moving forward. That's
Keep
right.
things going and enjoy the beautiful summer.
The
That
summer,
we
the
have
fall, life in general,
Just
even
life in
winter,
general.
even winter. I mean,
Yeah.
out there in the cold and having the fire pit and the dust blowing on you, that's okay too.
If it's the right people and the right
Absolutely.
and the good
If you're
food,
hugging
good-
the person you love, it's got to be fun, right?
it's got to be fun. You know,
Exactly.
and so many things, especially now this time of year, to do. And one of the places where there's so many different things to do is Stonefield.
That's
And
right.
So we're really excited to be joined by Samantha Strong. She is the manager of the stops at Stonefield. And Samantha, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hello,
Thank
Samantha.
you all so much for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, we're glad.
I'm surprised you even have time to come here. I mean, when I think of Stonefield, I said, "Holy cow! Wait a minute, she
Well,
runs
there-
Stonefield."
That's a very valid thing to think. Yeah, it's definitely a busy time, but we love that. Listening to all
course.
of the conversations you all have been having. It's been such a great time coming out of COVID
Sure,
and
sure.
seeing all the clothing and the dining and all the shopping that's happening. We love that.
Exactly.
Exactly, absolutely.
I mean, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role is as the manager of the shops.
That's probably the number one question that I get is, what do you do exactly?
That's a great question.
So, yeah, I'm like,
I
yeah,
hope I
that's
phrased it better.
no, that's fine. It's a very legitimate question, and it's every day is different. So I joke and I say, just when I think I can explain, then everything changes and I'm doing something else. I'm like, oh, well, then there's that too. So, so I had a long career in hospitality, and so when I was looking for a new opportunity, this role came up. My predecessor retired. We were friends, and I was able to interview and transition into this role in property management, which has been really fun in my hospitality career and working with people and customer service and operations, and that world has come very much into play here. So the best way I can describe what I kind of do on a day-to-day basis is my company owns the property, and I work
Okay.
for them to oversee the outside of the buildings is basically the best way I can explain
Okay.
it. So I make sure everything is running well on the outside. The shops are responsible. They take care of the inside.
Right, right.
And I take care of the outside. So that can be anything from speed bumps to landscaping to roofing to then it gets into marketing and social media and newsletters and things like that. So it's a very broad, I'm never bored. There's
That's good.
never a moment where I'm bored in my day.
So that is, I mean, don't want to.
So when you say social media, so you are marketing also for the stores and everything that's going on, and do they reach out to you, or do you know about it? How does that work?
Yes, to all of that.
Okay,
So
all right.
it's a machine that just kind of runs. If the shops need anything, I always make myself available to them. I've shopped at Stonefield long before this role, so a lot of them I knew quite a few of them already just from being in their stores. So when I took this on, it was a really natural transition. So I already had some friends, and they know that they can come to me if they need anything or if they're promoting anything. And then also, I try to come up with kind of unique ideas. They're great at coming up with unique ideas and coming together to do some things. And so I just try and help them. And if I have ideas, they'll give me material like for newsletters and things. So it's just a really good relationship.
That is neat.
What would you say is the major attraction right now of Stonefield? And obviously, is the hotel part of that too?
The hotel is we're together.
Okay.
So yes, so the hotel, and also a lot of people don't realize that Town Center is what we're known for, which is of course where we were talking earlier about Trader Joe's and the theater and the hotel. But we also have the north side of property, so that's BJ's, Jared's, European Wax, Mission Barbecue.
Okay, so by Costco.
All of Costco, all of that area
okay,
is
okay.
also part of Stonefield as well. So a lot of people don't realize that it's all together. We just have a little break in there. So we're all together in that. And so we're doing a lot right now to try and bring everyone together and to have it seen as a whole.
Gotcha.
So we have a lot of pieces.
Absolutely, that is amazing. Oh, we've got a comment coming in. Oh, Brad Strong, is that your husband? He
Yes.
says, "Tell her Connor says you were doing great, Mama." So
Fantastic.
you have some major fans watching. Thank you
That's
for
number
watching.
one fan, I
Number
suspect,
one
right?
fan.
Hopefully,
Number one
if
fan.
all is right, hopefully my husband and my son, at least they tuned in to see me. So thanks.
So, hey, it's important for the number one fans to tune in. The one thing I wanted to ask you about, so I've been talking with Jerry on the I Love Sheville flagship show just a couple times because, of course, there were major news with the Fashion Square Mall and
Yes.
that being sold to the lender originally, and just thinking a lot about the future of what malls in America, because that's more of your traditional mall where you go there, you go inside, and
Exactly.
everything's in there. And Stonefield just has so many of the outdoor areas, different things. So just what do you kind of see as the future of the mall experience in
Yeah.
America, globally, or just how you see it? Are there going to be things that you think change even from what Stonefield looks like today? Or just your thoughts on it being a part of this?
That's a loaded
Yeah.
question. Holy cow.
That is a loaded question. That's a big
He's
question.
tough.
It's a big
He's
question.
tough.
Okay,
Holy.
let me think about it. No, I think if anything during 2020, I think having one of the benefits of having an outdoor mall came about last year. So you still had the space, even when things were closed down. We loved seeing my predecessor, Victoria, she would tell me about how there would still be people out running or running up and down the steps of Regal
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah.
setting out on the green area. So it gave people this outdoor space. So I think for us at Stonefield, it's all about being creative. You really have to, because you were talking about people are shopping online right now. Like that's a big thing. But also, who wants to shop online anymore, right? Like, who wants to eat dinner in their
Absolutely.
kitchen or watch a movie
know.
in their living room? Like, now we're lucky that we're getting to that part
That's right.
where everybody wants to go out and have that interaction again. But it did make us start to realize the benefit, I think, of having that outdoor experience where you can go out and you can walk around. And that's really, I think, where we're hoping to get creative with kind of our branding and what we're doing is, what ways can we bring people in that's maybe not even geared and sold towards shopping, and like let's get people to Stonefield to see what we have and
Right.
who we are and what's available, and just come and spend the day. And because we do have so many things like the theater, all the shopping,
That's right.
the restaurants, the hotel, there's so many different pieces there. And it's such a beautiful, I know I'm very biased, but it's such a beautiful place to be. So it's a beautiful place to be able to walk around and just explore and have a really good time with friends and family. And you're in that outdoor marketplace feel. So we've started to get a little more creative when it comes to especially using that green space.
Yes.
The one up there.
That's right.
So our green space, we've gotten really creative with that over this summer. I wanted to use that as a way. I do a lot of different I work with a lot of different nonprofits in town, and I'm on a few different committees. And I wanted to find a way that we could use that to give back. And I said, that's the most important thing about anything that I've done is how can I utilize this role to give back to this community that's been so wonderful to me. And our shops feel the same way. This community has been, I think we were talking earlier too. We have Trader Joe's, we have LL Bean, we have those big names.
That's right.
We also have a lot of local,
Yeah.
amazing local
And
shops.
that's what's
Whimsy's, Splendora's just reopened as the summer was
Over there.
kicking
Oh,
off
that
with
would
us.
be fun.
Culture Vibes just had their opening. We have so many amazing shops with us that are local. So we really want to highlight all of that and get some people to come and see what's there now. So our Friday night music has been really great. We focus on a different nonprofit every week. This Friday, it's Bennett's Village. And then we partner them with a band. So I take care of kind of the logistics. So we have a band play, but the focus really is on this nonprofit that's doing this amazing work in the community and have people come out to enjoy a relaxing time and find out how to get involved. And that's been the big piece of and it's more of just creativity. What can we do to let people see who we are?
No,
Make it
and that's
the
perfect.
experience.
Yeah, that's perfect because
And it's an experience. That's it.
And when you think about it, when you have a mall like that, right? And you have these local stores, and you have obviously the top brand stores also. What you're trying to do is bring people in, and it's not just bring them in so they go shopping. Bring them in, let them walk around, and let them say, "Oh, I didn't even know this store was here," or "Let me go into this store and see what it's all about." You have to bring the people, so that's a perfect way. That's fabulous.
It's a more, I guess, dynamic experience. Just I want to go to the store, stop, leave.
Right.
It's no, I want to go to Stonefield. I want to walk around. I want to see this. I want
That's
to. Maybe I'll stop in there. I'll have dinner here, and before you know it, you're there 3 hours.
That's
And
right.
it's a
Exactly.
beautiful time.
Exactly.
Just spending time there. Already, we already got.
That's been our main focus. Is there's so many things to do, from the elements. You have yoga. I mean, there's so many different pieces. You could really spend your whole day getting everything you need done at Stonefield.
Exactly. More comments coming in. Brian Harris says, Samantha Strong is amazing. Keep rocking it at Stonefield. Thanks for all you do for our community. So on
Thank
the giving
you,
back
Brian.
piece.
Shout out to the Arc of the Piedmont. So that's Brian's.
Arc of the Piedmont.
That's Brian's nonprofit. So love those guys.
Awesome. And Kathy from New York says, I would rather go to an outdoor mall. It's a beautiful setting. Wish New York would have a few more of those. I sympathize with you, Kathy. I sympathize. 200. Did you guys design the outdoors of how Pottery Barn looks? Because she said it looks beautiful. I know she's been checking it out.
Oh, so actually there was a different company, a different management company that actually built Stonefield. So O'Connor Property Management, who I work for, they have just taken over in the past. They're probably watching. I'm not going to get this right because I'm new, but 5-6 years, they just took over. So all of the basic design was actually a different management.
Okay.
It was already there when we took over.
But you guys are upkeeping it beautifully.
That's
So
our
it's
goal.
still-
Good.
it's
I'm
still-
glad to hear
be
that,
honest,
'cause
Sometimes I
that's-
forget how old it is because it always looks.
No, that's right.
It looks
That's right.
new.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that because that's a big part of my job.
To make
So
it
that's
still
good to
look good.
hear.
And I mean, it's nice to get everything back going. Hopefully that movie theater, because when you think about it also, people, it's like, okay, let's go to movies. But before the movies, well, why don't we go have dinner, right?
Exactly.
Or after the movies, let's go have an
So
ice
many
cream,
good
or let's
options.
walk around. So that whole, the whole area with the movie theater and the little stores and the green area is just perfect because you can do something more than just go to movies and leave, right?
Exactly. Just you can make it that, like I said, the longer experience there. Because there's nothing like dinner and a movie. So now that you've got the movie back, you can do the dinner and a movie
Exactly.
together at one point.
Quick thing about Regal that a lot of people don't know that they brought back this summer. We were so excited when they came back and they reopened. It's been so successful. They're doing a great job. But they're also on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. They're doing dollar movies for the kids again. So it's a children's movie every Tuesday and Wednesday morning. It's different movies each week. So I have to give a quick shout for that because it's such a fun thing that they're doing in the community for the kids.
And that is awesome. I mean, especially when now the summer vacation is here for the kids. I mean,
That's right.
Take them.
I got to see what movies. I like children's
Yeah,
movies.
to be honest, I like some of
They're
those
really
movies.
good
For
movies.
$1, man, I'd go.
If there's like some classic Disney movies, I'm in. I mean, for $1, I'll go there in the morning and do it. Just as a personal and professional question, anything you would love to see like come to Stonefield in the future that's not there, but I would love it if there would be a business like this that would come here.
That's so funny. I have always been really happy with, like I said, I shopped there long before I had this job. My husband and I moved here in 2014, and we moved to one of the apartment complexes right on Hydraulics.
Okay, yeah, right.
So we found Daniel with Crate and Marrow right away, and that's been our dog supply store ever since.
Yep.
So it's funny. I've had so many people that have brought up different ideas to me, like, oh, what about a container store? What about, and like people have had all of these ideas, but now that we're starting to see new leases being signed and new shops being getting ready to open, I'm so excited about the ones that we have coming that I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, because I'm so excited about these that are coming on board. Like I said, this past month we Culture Vibes, a local shop, just opened with us. So excited to have them, and I see all the stuff that he's doing in the community and in his store. We have one of the big things a lot of our shops are excited about is Torchy's Tacos is going to be coming. It's in Austin, so that's one that is going to be coming in the future. We're working on getting that space ready now. So there's so many exciting things coming that I'm like, oh, I don't even know what I would want.
Your checklist has already been
I'm like,
signed
I'm
off,
already
right?
excited about what's happening. So I can't think of anything off that. I honestly, back to kind of what we were saying, I think we have a little something. We have such a nice variety of different shops that I think we check a lot, if not all of the boxes on what's going on.
Absolutely no, especially now with Rito back. I'm a bit.
Yes.
We're big movie, superhero movie guys, but Rito back said, okay,
That's the key.
okay,
Yes.
we're gonna be
and
there
you
so much
can't
more
see
often.
a superhero movie
Oh, of
in your
course not.
living room.
No.
It's
No.
not this. You've got
No.
Black Widow has to be at Regal. You know,
No, absolutely.
You have to go to a
The
big
sound, the action, it's got to be
Exactly.
big. You know, when you put it in a small TV, it's just not the same.
It's not
It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll pay the
That's right.
extra to go and see that, to not have a real
I mean, come on,
experience.
watching Wonder Woman on a little TV, it's no good.
It's no good.
Gotta
You
watch her
know,
in
the
big screen.
You're a big fan, a big Wonder Woman fan here, for sure. Any other, before we let you go, any other like upcoming events or things going on at Stonefield that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so check out, I always tell everyone, go to the website and our social media. We update constantly, but every single Friday from 5 to 7, it's a different nonprofit and a different band.
Oh, wow.
So I go on and look and you can see which one it is. Like I said, this Friday coming up is Bennett's Village. And we also have, it's a UVA band, I'm probably going to mispronounce it, Theocules and the Scruffs.
Wow.
They're incredible.
That's a tough,
They sit.
that's a tough one to
one.
say.
It's. I know. They didn't make it
Sounds like
easy on
ancient
me
Greek.
this
My brother
week.
Nick probably knows how to pronounce it. It sounds Greek.
But we're so excited to have them come and play. So we're doing that every Friday. My goal is. I've kind of started small again. I just took over this role in December, so I'm hoping to build to where we can have a different event each weekend.
Okay.
We've been partnering a lot with Craft Seaville, which we love. I love that group. They're going to bring back some markets. Going into the holidays. So they're going to bring back some craft markets that are so popular with us. So we're going to have that going
That's good.
on. And then house the local nonprofit that works with dogs. They're going to be doing an event. They're going to bring back another market event that they do. And then right now, my big thing that I'm really excited to, two things are a Halloween event. Hopefully we're going to move into that. So a trick-or-treating event and then a tree lighting, kind of a Christmas event. We are bringing back Tinsel Trail this year with the Junior League where they had the Christmas trees around
very
the green.
nice.
Okay.
So we're really excited to plan something big with the Junior League to kick off the holiday season too. So we have some things in the works coming up. We're
That's
excited.
Awesome. Yeah, so much
I
going
love
on.
that. Absolutely.
And I love
That's
the
good to know.
nonprofit theme. It's just
Yeah,
you get
it
to
is.
go.
It is.
So by going, there's something I guess you pay for the band and then it supports the nonprofit, or how do you
Actually,
support them?
there is no charge at all to come. So there is zero charge to come. The nonprofit each week will do different things. I joke that I don't have rules. My rules are very straightforward and not intense. But the nonprofit just shows up and they do different things. I know Bennett's Village has a lot of vendors that are coming in that they're going to be selling and doing give backs. Some of our shops do give backs. Splendora's is a great example. Kendra Scott, Noodles and Company, they do give backs to the nonprofit that's there each week. So one of our nonprofits that we supported was Elk Hill School locally, the Elk Hill School. We partnered with UVA clubs. They actually did a school supply drive for them, and we wound up getting a van load of school supplies for the teachers. And so each week it's a little different, but you don't have to pay anything to come. But when you're there may be different ways that you can support. Foster families is another one that we support. So we had people places, we have community attention. Foster families that are going to be coming, they're looking for people to sign up just to learn more about being foster parents. Right. So each week it's a little different depending on what the needs of the nonprofit are.
That's amazing. So
Really
just
good.
being there, you can support them
you're supporting them. Exactly.
in numerous ways. You can find
And you're learning
ways.
about them. And sometimes there's a lot of nonprofits you don't even know exist.
Exactly.
That's
to
the
find
goal.
out ones you didn't know were there.
Fantastic.
Dan Jensen from North Carolina says you all are terrific.
Thank
So-
you.
Thank you, Dan.
So thank you, Dan, for watching.
North Carolina, wow.
From North Carolina. We are a nationwide
that.
show.
shows.
A nationwide show here. Samantha, thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so much
joining
for
us today.
having me. This has been awesome.
This has been educational too. This
a
is
lot
wonderful.
of fun. I've learned so much about how it works and just all the awesome things that you can do to support both Stonefield and all the nonprofits that you're working
Yeah.
with.
Exactly.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Very.
This was good.
Yeah,
this
two
is,
really
like I
awesome
said, it's
guests
nice when you
today.
have one. It's a great guest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vibrant guest that we had, but also when you learn a little something, right? Because
Exactly.
sometimes you just don't even know, who's running Stonefield, how does that work?
Yeah.
But everything that goes in behind the scenes and what they're doing, I think it's great to be
Mm-hmm. The
put
work
it
that
out there.
comes in whatsoever. And I'm excited for what's coming. I'm glad. I used to do, sometimes I would go to Splendora's in the downtown mall, have a little ice cream sometimes. So the fact that it's back, I'm like, yes, it's back.
Ice cream,
And it's
ice
so
cream.
good. I'm a bit ice cream. So now I can do, with my dates, I can do dinner,
Dinner,
movie, and
wow.
ice cream. I can do
Shoosh.
3 things. And I did to be.
Or even Friday, there might be some music.
Exactly.
Right.
There might be some music
Exactly.
and ice cream.
And ice cream.
And the
Ice cream
important
has
thing
to
is
be
the
part of it.
and ice cream. That's really my my extra draw there. It's like music and ice cream.
Ice cream.
So, but that's exciting. And new outdoor place.
Yeah. that'd be
Looking
fun.
forward.
That'd be
That's going to
interesting.
be awesome. I think, especially now, talk about so many exciting things now to do there with things opening up and more people going out. So you definitely have your opportunities here in Charlotte.
And this is the right time
do
of
it.
season, right?
It's the time of
Summer,
year.
fall.
Summer, fall.
Like even winter.
Even winter, I mean, when you do- I can
you know, I
imagine
love
it'll look
Christmas.
beautiful
I mean,
with
the
the
idea to
Christmas
see
trees, the
Christmas
tinsel.
lights and tinsel. Oh man,
that's going to be awesome.
yeah, that really brings up the spirit in Xavier
I can imagine. I should imagine.
and
It
his
certainly
wife,
does.
Jan. I mean, she
Yeah.
loves, mom loves
My
Christmas.
mom is a huge Christmas fan.
so
so
I'll
that's
have
gonna
to
be-
drag her there.
Oh, I
She'll have
said
to
the
drag
other way
me there.
around. Other way around. She'll be like, let's go enjoy the Christmas. Absolutely. Oh, a super fun show today.
This one's wonderful.
As always. I mean, next week is going to be a lot of fun too. We already know we have our guests for
Oh, we do.
for
Okay.
next week. Yeah, we're going to be
So
joined.
there's no surprises. Nick
no
is in-
surprises.
Because
Yeah,
Nicholas is the one that gets
we're
his
gonna
most.
spare you,
Okay.
Nick, coming in at short notice and being like, oh,
No, I enjoyed that. That was
surprise
good.
guest was Nick.
I loved having Nick
the
here.
audience liked him, I have to say. I don't know why, but they did. So, I mean, he was very impressive. But next week, Nikki Hastings from Seaville Biohub is going
Okay.
to join us. So they bring together a lot of the biotech
that's right,
companies
that's right. Okay, I
here in
remember that. I
Charlottesville.
remember that.
And then the father and son duo from Ruiz Landscaping
Oh, that would be fun.
is going to
That'd
join
be
us. So
interesting.
that's going to be
Yeah.
a blast. From we're going to get to meet Ruiz
Ruiz.
Landscaping. It's going to be a lot of fun. So a blast next week, and just like it was a blast this week.
Exactly.
It's every day is fun on Today Mañana, basically.
Today's fun and mañana's fun.
Exactly. And shout out. So if you can stand a double dose of Alex and Xavier to Twitch shout out, we're going to be on Real Talk with the amazing Keith Smith
That's
and
right.
Jerry Miller tomorrow.
We've been
Same
blessed
network.
that he asked us on.
We were really
We'll see what
humbled
happens.
that he asked us on because it's he and Jerry are awesome.
They are,
on that
I know,
show. That's
exactly.
such a super informative but funny show.
That's right.
Like you watch it and you're like, I'm learning so much, but I'm actually also having a great time.
Because
Between-
it's their personality.
it's the
right?
personality. It's,
just-
like Keith is such a great storyteller.
Oh.
Jerry just always has the charisma and,
That's right.
and the enthusiasm. When you put so I mean, if you can handle 3 New Yorkers, born Keith from New York, you raised in New York, me born in New York, if you can handle that,
and then
you
Jerry
have
to
a
top
great-
it all
and
off.
Jerry to top it all off. Then you're gonna have a great show, which I think it's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna
so
be
we're
wonderful.
really excited to be honest. That's 10:15
Tomorrow?
You can always catch Real Talk 10:15
Exactly.
tomorrow morning on the
Every
I
Friday.
Love Seaville network. It's on every Friday. I think also every Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. And yep, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to be on the show tomorrow. And so of course, always want to thank our sponsors, Emergent Financial Services, Cristel Noel, State Farm Agency, and Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Always want to thank I Love Seaville, Judah, for being behind
Always,
the camera
always Judah.
and helping this show run smoothly. And just really excited. And of course, you, our audience, thank you so much for watching us, because they wouldn't be here without you.
That's
all.
right, absolutely.
So we really
The
appreciate
Leahs, the Dans, the Kathys, the Connors.
everyone who watched us today.
Absolutely.
We love you all. You
All
make
of
this show possible. So be sure to share with your friends. Let people know if you've asked us any questions. Forward us questions if anything you want us to talk about on the show next week, and we will certainly read them aloud and talk about them.
Exactly, we
so
will.
Thanks once again for joining us, and until next time, hasta mañana.